just outside of Onward, Mississippi, is the site of a famous bear hunt. Back in 1902, Teddy Roosevelt came down here to hunt. But when he didn't have any luck, some local hunters trapped a bear for him to shoot. Teddy wouldn't do it. And based on this event, the teddy bear got its name. You can get one while you're at the Onward store. The flat farmland eventually gives way to the sharp river cliffs of Vicksburg. Before the Civil War, Vicksburg was a prospering and cosmopolitan river port. Fine homes lined the hillsides with beautiful views of the river. But it was the war for which Vicksburg is remembered. The Union generals knew that the natural fortress was the key to the Mississippi River. They threw everything they had at her. Over 100,000 soldiers surrounded the town and dealt Vicksburg a continuous bombardment.
Fixing to buy me a little farm with my wife and my children out of harm and danger, and then I'll settle down. Hell, I ain't even wearing a gun, and I hadn't done that in so damn long. It feels good, boys, yeah, to have you around. Well, I want more shot just for old times. Get a one last time. Well, I want more hit, ought to do it, and then I quit while I can. Give me one more shot just for old times. Hit a one last time. Well, I want more hit, ought to do it, and then I quit while I can.
The bloody siege lasted 49 days and was one of the worst moments of the war.
This area, before the Civil War, was per capita the richest in the United States. All of it, of course, undergirded by slavery. Not far from 61, around Port Gibson, where Grant and Sherman landed 40,000 men in 1863, attendant to the eventual siege of Vicksburg. It was the closest thing we had to the Normandy beachhead in that war. General Grant described Port Gibson as too beautiful to burn, but you get a little off 61 around Port Gibson, and the old roadways are tunnels of green, and the trees festooned with Spanish moss. It truly is a land of ghosts. Highway 61 has always made me think of ghosts.
I was just driving my car to learn about Mississippi. And in this old dead cornfield, I saw these 13 Corinthian columns, perfectly naked, no building, just standing up there in the sun with some old mules eating around the bushes around there. I didn't know where it had come from. I didn't know anything about it. And I had my camera. I got out and I walked it around there, and I saw that in the Corinthian columns on the top there were birds' nests and squirrels were living, and it was completely at home in the wild. But it had once, you could tell, been quite grand. It was called Windsor, and Mark Twain used it as a marker on the Mississippi River when he was a pilot on the river, because it would be lit up at night. They had so many dances and parties there. And that, it gave me a wonderful feeling, because it was a ghost, is what it was. I guess that was a sort of mark of the society that was going then. You know, it came and went pretty fast. And I like to think of Mark Twain coming by and seeing it lit up.
After you cross over into Louisiana, you'll soon find yourself in bayou country. Listen closely. If you hear a loud snap, it could be the jaws of a 10-foot alligator. And even though the swampland has its dangers, it's worth taking a boat ride through its dark, mystical waters.
Yeah, you can find some alligators out here. I missed a big gator right there by that stump one time, about 10 foot. I didn't get him, though. He's probably still there, somewhere. There's been a couple instances of attacks, but not kind of rare. But they don't distinguish you from their natural food, you know? In other words, if you get in the wrong place at the wrong time, you might come there.
And whatever you do, don't wear your alligator boots. They're very easily offended. If you follow 61 all the way out, your final destination will be the Big Easy, New Orleans, the Queen. Everybody wants to come to Bourbon Street.
They do. It's just something about the spirit of New Orleans that does that to people. I guess because it's partying 24 hours a day, and they drink in the streets, and it's like Mardi Gras every day, nearly. I've never seen a street like Bourbon Street anywhere else. And when I travel, you know, people don't ask about anything but Bourbon Street. Tell me about Bourbon Street. Because it's a fun place to go, and it's gay and exciting.
Now, to feel the spirit of Bourbon Street, just give it a little wiggle.
Laissez la bonté rouler, let the good times roll. That's New Orleans.
Now, who that's that? Now, who that? Who that's that?
On a pretty day, Jackson Square comes alive with starving artists and street performers of all kinds.
What them little girls understand. Grandpa, make my liver quiver. Oh, I feel so unnecessary.
Instead, it's a time of success, actually. You've got 3 of the 4 10s in the seat.
Places like Jackson Square remind me life really is a carnival.
Don't remember much about my baby day, but I've been told used to live on Willow in the Garden District next to the Sugar Bowl.
Driving through the Garden District, you will feel transported through time. The words of authors like Tennessee Williams, Walker Percy, Anne Rice, Ellen Gilchrist will come alive.
Mama used to take me to Audubon Park, show me the ways of the world.
When Blanche Dubois first appears in A Streetcar Named Desire, she's likened to the beauty of the Garden District.
Little cookie, here's a macaroon. That big round thing's a red balloon in the paper down here's called a picky. Here's in New Orleans too. blue morning. Blue, blue day.
Uptown, the music takes a soulful turn. There are a lot of spots to dance and play till the morning light. But at the Dewdrop Inn up on LaSalle Street, even though the famous club is now closed, the music will never stop. The Dewdrop began as a two-chair barber shop in the 30s. It gradually expanded into a bar, hotel, and restaurant. By 1945, it was New Orleans' swankiest club. For the next 20 years, it saw such greats as James Brown, Ray Charles, Little Richard, Otis Redding perform regularly.
All your bad dreams.
The Dewdrop has been passed down through Kenneth Jackson's family from generation to generation. Kenneth is the last of the family line and fears that the historical legacy could end with him.
The Dewdrop basically was a family-run type business. It was a family of brothers and sisters that actually ran the place. My grandfather, Frank Panier, was the owner. He was the one that had the original idea of the Dewdrop. And when they came to New Orleans in 1934, he saw that blacks didn't have anywhere to go for live entertainment, especially a place that large. So they started doing shows, and it just got bigger and bigger and bigger. You know, it was just an environment where anybody could come, black, white. It didn't make a difference even during that time when segregation was in its heyday. It didn't make a difference.
So there were a few incidences where the law had to more or less keep us in line, huh?
Ever so often they would come in, they'd just roll up the paddy wagons and just haul off everybody.
And what was the charge they would level against us?
The arrest charge was racial mixing, you know, so you can imagine that. I don't think that's even on the books.
I've never heard of it.
Yeah. That's something else. I couldn't hardly believe it myself. They had to fight all of that, you know, to at least just put on a show and have a good time, you know.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, Mr. Jackson, hopefully, do you think we'll see some more great shows like that at the Dewdrop in the future?
Basically, I'm going to go back and talk with all the people that came here during the time and find out exactly what it looked like, and I want to try to get that same feeling in the place. I want to take out a few walls around here, expand things, and just bring back the live entertainment. I'm sort of like the last of the Mohicans, so it's kind of like it's my responsibility.
Mr. Jackson, save me a couple of tickets, will you please, sir?
Oh, yeah. Oh,
All
yeah.
right, sir.
Reserve seats.
Thanks again for having
Okay.
us.
You're welcome.